Unfortunately, the Rick Staples, I'm going to have to try to call him back 12:27 or so, because he did, I called his office and he didn't pick up. So we'll see what we can do later on, I suppose. Regardless, here, I'm Marky Billson, Tri-City Sports Now. Let me get into what I want to do my monologue on, which is Brian Snitker winning the Manager of the Year. That the Braves have won. Ron Acuna, yeah, he was called up late. Well, so was Soto down in, or up in Cincinnati. But I think Acuna got in the left lane and passed Soto by. Coach Manager of the Year award. It's always the most overrated award given out. Speaks of the media trying to save face for a poor prediction more than anything else. Really does. But if an award is to be handed out, Atlanta's Brian Snitker is a deserving choice for the National League Manager of the Year. Frankly, it's nice to see someone who spent so much time in the minors and the organization, who appeared to be nothing but a caretaker when he was hired, but did a good job. Remember, he turned the team around from Freddie Gonzalez? 9-28, remember that? And he appeared to be nothing but a caretaker, was hired, and he wrote my Medium piece on this monologue that I'm giving. You'll see the link where in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, it was a very close bet to bring back Brian Snitker. He almost got canned after the 2017 season. But I'm really satisfied that Snitker won the National League Manager of the Year award, because the role of a baseball manager is changing. Strategy is dictated from above, coaching staffs are larger, and instead of rewarding loyalty or longevity as Snitker was, teams instead are embracing managers for their media relations skills, player relations skills. There's nothing wrong with that. I do think that the, what I say goes. There's too much money here. That's not going to happen. Snitker does have media relations and public relations skills. In fact, he's been lauded by it. I keep reading the articles. There isn't anybody that doesn't like Brian Snitker personally. But the thing about Snitker winning the National League Manager of the Year award, it's a victory for the old school. Now, you've heard me, I love criticizing Gabe Kapler. I love that, manager of the Phillies. And he was hired to manage the Phillies last year after 1 year of minor league managerial experience. That was 10 years ago. Washington Nationals, New York Mets, they make their hires for managers, general managers, after consulting with player agents. Yeah, how's that going to work out for Le'Veon Bell? And it's said that Scott Boras runs the Washington Nationals, and you're probably right there. Snitker's so old school, when they filmed Bull Durham, he was the manager of the Durham Bulls. Now, not in the movie, but I mean, no, he was the manager of the Durham Bulls when, after the season was over, okay, let's film Bull Durham. Yeah, he was the Durham Bulls manager. That's how far back he'd take the call down there, and they'd say, Bruce Sutter, Gene Garber, Rick Camp, come into the ball game. That's how, he's been around a while. We are now in an era, though, where Snitker let Mike Fultonevich complete 2 starts this year. That was the only 2 games the Braves completed, a starting pitcher completed for the Braves. Would have been 3 if Sean Newcomb could have gotten the last out in his no-hitter. That outing, that 8 2/3 innings outing for Newcomb, actually went 134 pitches. That was the most pitches any starting pitcher threw in the major leagues this year. Think about that. Steve Carlton would routinely, 150 in the league every day. Not, good for you, 7 innings, no-hit ball, and then the bullpen loses the no-hitter, and the pitcher says, what would have happened if I really, you were taking something away from him. I think you're better off in that situation. And in terms of, did it hurt his arm? There's some talk about Johan Santana, that his career ended after Terry Collins let him go, 134 pitches and a no-hitter. Well, Newcomb, after that game, he was inconsistent, but basically it was only the heavy-hitting teams that lit him up. When in the modern day Kapler was reducing his players to numbers while preaching positive reinforcement, that's an oxymoron. And then trying to bring in relief pitchers in the third innings with no warm-up. Yeah, Snitker got kicked out of the game arguing when the umpire said, no, we got to let Hobie Milner warm up and all that. He still won the game 15-2, and yeah, the Braves won the division, the Phillies collapsed. Snitker was given a 3-year extension at the end of the year. Ron Morris, columnist for a Raleigh newspaper, he wanted to give him 5. Now, baseball is going through a math versus history culture war that threatens to change this mindset, but baseball draws as much of its identity from its past as it does its present. But even so, as its present, even so, doesn't it serve the Braves' identity well to have someone who spent so much time in the organization in such a role of leadership? I'm going to see if Rick stays